and I didn't even do the thing, man. We're so
who's
late
country?
that I didn't even do
no music, no intro,
no music. I didn't do this thing.
Nope.
What? How are we gonna start if you don't do that thing?
I didn't play this.
Hey.
How many people know the show's starting if you don't play that?
Just play it right now.
Unprecedented times.
That's how they know.
Unprecedented times.
That's how they know. And we'll do this thing again too.
Yes, again.
Sorry. That's all right. Yeah. I don't see enough people doing stink face when they hear something they really like, you know?
Yeah.
I've always loved that. Just like,
And I love
the funky face. Ooh, that's funky.
I love when little kids do it. It's like, what you know about that? Who you saw do that? That let you know you're supposed to do that when you're here.
I think it's a feeling. I just think it's a feeling. Yeah, I think funkiness is a feeling.
It's another sign that music these days just isn't as good, right? The loss of the funk face.
That's true. If you can't do the funk face while you listen to music, you'll be like,
Ooh.
I did hear a song like that, man. I was listening to your boy from Gazelda, my man West Side Gun's new album. Shout out to West Side Gun. F with Buffalo, big time. But I really mess with West Side Gun. He's one of my favorite rappers today. He had your boy he had the Black Star Group on his album.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pete. Yeah. Yep. One of my favorite songs, too, on there is called Pepper. Most definitely Talib go in on that song. And it still rocks with the grimy, grungy, early 90s hip-hop sound mixed with some new contemporary sampling. It's pretty fire. If y'all like, I like to call it the fine, like I guess this generation of rap is starting to cross over into the luxury rap, I like to call it. So if you are a little hood, but also feel like you got some class, check out West Side Gun's new album. It's a doozy.
What's luxury rap?
Yeah, tell me more about luxury.
Yes, I got it.
I think a best example of that is like Money Ain't a Thing by JD and Jay-Z, you know. Rappers celebrating and creating art based on their new luxury lifestyles influenced by the words they speak, right? So another song like you feel like Big Meech, Larry Hoover, Rick Ross, right? Riding through, if you're in a drop top in a nice car and you got some money or you feel like you got some money and you blasting that song riding down the street, can't nobody mess with you.
Yeah.
Can't nobody mess with you. You know what I'm saying? But if you playing like some old, like DMX, for example, it's a different type of vibe. You're not, you can't be, you know.
I think for a while, there was gangster rap and what you call luxury rap kind of coexisted.
They did.
When I think of luxury rap,
until Kanye West,
Maze, right? Like him and Puff Daddy. Like with fur coats and stuff. It's like, man, that not only is the coat soft, but he's just talking about stuff he has. But at the same time, DMX was doing his thing, you know.
Right.
At the same time, right? For sure.
You know what I miss? I miss
different vibes.
Like right between there, because I was just thinking about this weekend, the humor rap. Or like like
Danny Brown,
the playful, like the Craig Max, right? I was listening to Flavor in I was like, come on, where's more of that? You can drive your Toyota Tercel and play it and still feel like you fit, like got some De La going, got some Tribe, even though they're top notch music, but still there's like
Outkast too. You could play a little Outkast.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Get some humor.
They got a little playfulness to it.
Luda had a lot of humor.
Ludacris, for sure, Luda.
Yeah,
I missed it. I missed it too. I think Eminem had some songs like that.
I was thinking about My
Busta
Band
Rhymes.
the other day.
Who?
Remember
Oh.
D12 My Band, that silly song? I was thinking about that randomly the other day. I was like, man, that was a interesting
Crazy
time.
It was a crazy time. Look, okay, that's it. Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina. Remember that? Yep. Playful.
Yeah, Shaggy.
Yeah. His hit single.
Mm-hmm.
Playful song.
Playful song, man. I was listening to It Wasn't Me the other day and thinking to myself, like, I don't know if y'all heard the story, but I watched some documentary on that, how that song was like a year or two old before it blew up. And he was like basically they were getting ready to like shut the door on his contract, and then it like exploded somewhere else. And then they just rode the wave. But think of that song, it's such a playful song that I think it will be in American culture forever because it's playful, but it's playful about a pretty toxic topic. I remember the Isley Brothers. Remember Ronald Isley made a song called "Mr. Big" about the same topic, except for in that song, R. Kelly get beat up. In this song, it's a joke. It's like
you're talking about Best Friend with Kelly Price.
No, it's talking
not
about
Best Friend. I'm
the
talking
first
about
one. The first one, I call those hip operas.
Yeah,
like
hip operas.
You know, you got your different voices.
What's that song called? It's called
because Best Friend was her calling Mr. Big and then him calling R. Kelly on the phone.
That was the second one. The first one,
yeah.
Oh
no, that's
you're
contagious.
That's it.
Contagious. That was the second one. Contagious.
Yes.
Contagious was fire too. I like
that
Contagious. But it wasn't to me. I remember watching the original. What was the original called? Was it Download? It was, and I like Ronald Isley.
Oh, because that was a remake of, like a kind of remix of that with the.
Yeah, it was a second. It was a second song of what is that song? Yes, Download. That's what I thought it was.
Keep it on the down low. Yes.
Keep it on the down low. Oh. That's the song when R. Kelly get beat up. That's a great song too. But in the music video, he get beat up. And I remember as a kid watching that and being terrified of Ronald Isley. Like, oh my God. Damn, like beat him up and throw him in the desert. And like, I swear to God, I don't swear to God, I remember listening to the Isley Brothers because I'm a huge Isley Brother fan and not being able to like put those two together. Like the dude I'm singing in this song is also the guy, Mr. Big, in this video that I'm terrified of because he beat up R. Kelly in the video.
That had to be like a big ego boost and just a real big bump to his career. Like you in your, let me see, at that point probably 60s, and you fighting.
You got Isley beating up. That'd be like beating up Michael Jackson to a certain degree in the video, leaving him for dead. You're like, ooh, you see Michael Jackson got beat up in that music video by who's a guy back in the day? Sam Cooke. I don't know. Luther Vandross beat Michael Jackson up in that song. You ain't see that? But I love Ronald. I love the Isley Brothers. I love the OJs.
Yeah.
So I think having him come back to me, having him in that Download video and the Contagious, for me, connected like 60 plus years of music that I would have listened to, but I wouldn't have been like, man, like you said, like they brought him back in that video. To me, he was just some gangster with slick hair and a high voice. I'm like, I ain't trying to mess with nobody who looked like him.
We cut to some gangsters in their hideout. Now listen, guys. I know that it's going around that I may be facing some charges for all the people I killed. And I want you guys to know I ain't do any of it. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You think anybody who sounds like this can kill people?
Nope, not in the court of law. I don't think that.
Oh, well, I do know a guy that is sorry I have strep throat
I'm
right now.
saying you got to get that together.
Oh, no.
The strep throat is really getting my smooth talking voice.
Yeah, we look too fly to be getting strep throat.
Yeah, people aren't gonna think we hard if you come in talking like that.
Just make sure we don't switch any pimp cups so that your saliva and mine doesn't mix up. But
well, my pimp cup has my name on it, so no way that's getting confused.
And mine is the only one with diamonds. You better not touch mine.
You better not touch mine.
I'm not saying I'm gonna touch yours. I'm just saying it could happen.
Doesn't he sound like a grandma? I mean, I really think
I'm not a grandma. I have strep throat.
I don't want to take a vote here.
Yeah, we sound like gangsters.
We sound like gangsters.
We sound like gangsters.
And you sound like you're handing out candy on Sunday.
Yeah, well, if you have to call somebody on the phone and intimidate them, they're going to think they get intimidated by a grandma.
Yeah, might invite you over.
Well, if I have to, then I will make sure that I maybe buy one of those electric voices to speak through, because I don't want to sound like a granny. The antibiotics are supposed to work, and they won't work.
We cut to him at like a Best Buy. So you're looking for something to make you sound less like a grandma? I don't know.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I participate in some of the more toxic business endeavors, and my voice is a part of my work.
Okay. Well,
is something wrong? I mean, you're looking at me and your face is all balled up like it's a funky smell in the air or something.
Oh, it's just a weird juxtaposition because you're dressed very, very prominently. There's a lot of colors going on. There's a lot of fur in your wardrobe, but the voice is coming out. It actually just reminds me of like a very old, frail woman. And it's just weird to see it coming out of someone looking like you. We do have a couple of things that may be able to help. Can you just tell me a little bit more about like what you're looking to use it for?
I thought that was implied with my voice. I think you're just trying to make me speak longer, which is going to start pissing me off. I don't want to.
I don't want to give you like a heart attack or something.
I'm not going to have a heart attack.
Did you have a nap today?
Excuse me?
Well, I don't know if you're cranky because you didn't have a nap today or because of maybe your hip is bothering you. I'm sorry.
I don't understand. Listen, I have a fucking gun in my back pocket that I will bust off in this Best Buy if any of you rascals continue to treat me like this.
Do you call me a rascal? Did you call me a rascal?
Is this yes? Is there something wrong with where I'm using?
I'm sorry. I haven't heard anyone use that word, right? Like, it made me think of like the Little Rascals from like what year is that? The 60s or something? I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. You need something to help you with your voice. I got you. Sure.
Now I was thinking something a little more Darth Vader-y. Or maybe like the guy off of those Nationwide commercials.
Oh, the Nationwide's on your side guy?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but I do know Darth Vader. I actually this right here. This is a voice modulator. It has a couple of different famous characters on it. One of them is Darth Vader. Why don't you go ahead and give that a try?
we cut back to the to the gangster's lair. All right, you did a good job shooting up that Best Buy. I'm so glad you got out of there before they could find you, Winky. It was really great work that you did. But you told us to meet you back here because you got something you want to show us.
Yes, I have updated my new voice, and I think we are ready to continue our toxic endeavors.
Whoa. Doesn't sound like a
What's the
killer
problem,
man.
guys? What's the problem?
That is not gangster.
It's not gangster at all. You sound like a crossing guard in an elementary school.
And scene. And on that note, this is the Can't Tell Us Nothing show, everybody. This is hey. Yeah, we do a little bit of improv on this show. We're out of Houston, Texas. Normally there's 4 of us. A gentleman named Amici could not make it tonight. He's feeling under the weather. So maybe he has strep. Who knows? But we'll do this because we do this every first and third Thursday or Tuesday of each month. Not a Thursday, Tuesday.
Not Tuesday.
But yeah, wanted to get that out. Speaking of gangsters, Tandy, did you want to talk about the historic moment
speaking
that's
of
happening
charges
right now in this country?
Yeah, speaking of charges being filed. I know. I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that the former president of this country was indicted on charged officially with 34 felonious counts in the state of New York, and had to present to the was that the courthouse, the jail? No, the jail. He had to be booked and all of that stuff, and go and have his hearing, and he was walking. I don't know if you guys saw his walk out. He almost treated it like it was another presidential march, and like it was something with pomp and circumstance. I wanted more cameras flashing. I wanted somebody to be hiding his head, covering him up, like the other people who don't want to be seen. But he held his shameful head, relatively high, and took that walk today. And I don't know. I thought I'd feel a lot better. I really don't feel anything. No, I don't feel.
You see, I mean, everybody's waiting for the mugshot or for the shot of him in cuffs, and neither is happening. Sir,
though, but that right there, didn't Josh Hawley do that the day of the insurrection? Didn't he come out of the But I'm so tired of people appropriating the fist. I don't think that's I don't think that's for every movement and every
time you're against the cops, you throw
the fist. That ain't right.
It kind of dilutes. That's what I said. Is it the Black Power fist, or is it the fight for justice fist? Is it the what is the fist? It definitely takes on a different meaning. Seeing him do it, but I don't know, man. 34 counts of some fraud in New York, in a place that your home, where you grew up, where you were born.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen his lawyer on some of the talk shows like before? That dude looks like a straight up mob lawyer. He just gives off that vibe. I'll see if I can find a clip that I saw, but this dude. He seems like he is struggling too. And they're throwing these very legit questions at him, and he's just like, well, I'll see if I can find some.
I found a little something.
And he's they just said they added another lawyer. The woman, her last name is Necklace.
It appears that at least part of the indictment is dealing with falsifying the business records, which, as you pointed out, is a misdemeanor in New York. I'm just wondering, would the president consider pleading guilty to a misdemeanor to make this go away?
George, one thing I could assure you of, as I sit here today, there'll be no guilty plea in this case. That's one thing I can guarantee you. I don't think this case is going to see a jury. I think it's going to go away on papers. I think there's a legal challenge that will be made and should be made successfully. So
that's based on not seeing the charges.
But it's based on not seeing, but understanding the base of the charge, which is going to be regarding a federal election and a state prosecutor bringing charges on a federal campaign law violation theory that has never been prosecuted before. I mean, we're going to be making a lot of motions. Obviously, selective prosecution, motions to dismiss will be coming. There'll be a lot more, but we'll decide that once we see the indictment.
There's been, we've talked about this a couple of times.
Wow,
a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more.
One of the things I'm learning about this whole situation, because I'm taking notes, I do think there's a silver lining. I am 100% sure that you get better justice treatment if you are rich and if you are well connected, and if you are influential, and more importantly today, if you can galvanize a lot of people, or at least the right people, then the justice system does not handle you the same way. The fact that he's as confidently, he's like, oh yeah, they've never prosecuted this before. Nothing's going to come out of this. Like, at least half of the country is looking at that going, really? That to me, that doesn't make us feel good about it, right? The other half of the country is caught up on, he got arrested. This is the worst thing that can happen into our country. By the way, Fox News says that once a week.
Yeah.
Something is the worst thing ever happened in our country. It's a weird one for me, man. I mean,
I think one of the lessons to learn here is if you are being charged with something, go on your social media and say they're after me. They're trying to
it's the Matrix.
Witch hunt. But they're trying to get me on this day. Like, just blast it. I think people are too quiet about when they're being charged with stuff. You don't even hear about it. Be loud about it.
Because the lawyers are always telling you
to the courthouse on that day.
Yeah, protest. Yeah. Even if you got to pay people to do that, just to make it, because this is what I said, right? Like, half the people are going to watch that crowd and they're going to be like, well, they're not out there protesting for no reason, which is a terrible logic. But some people think that. And then some people are going to think, well, they must be corrupt if they're coming for the president or the ex-president. And again, that's one of those like non-starters, right? But I wonder if, and there's no reason to do what ifs, right? But all those lock her up stuff that we heard, now I feel like I want to see all of these politicians, any politician that's ever broken the law, I want to see them indicted, just to level out the what is it, the people's anger towards their one guy getting arrested, right? If they were locking up all of them, then everybody would be mad, in which no one cares that everyone's mad. But when half the people are mad and the other half are like, hold up, he deserves this, I still don't feel good about it.
I don't see enough snitching from these politicians. I really hope there would have been more name dropping and trying to make deals to get someone else charged or indicted. I'm a bit disappointed in how close-lipped these politicians are.
Disappointed or impressed? Normally people like white collar crimes normally have like the highest snitch rate amongst all crimes. It just seemed, and I was watching something where it's like, here's one thing that doesn't get caught out at all, from the Republican side. How many people on his company and staff, personal staff, have been arrested and charged and convicted of crimes doing his bidding, right? Now,
so many.
If, let's say, if Walt Disney, if Bob Iger from Disney World, if 5 out of 6 of his executives got arrested for anything that we know, like fraudulent, we would automatically assume Bob Iger has to be either arrested, fired, or he is associated with the company he keeps, right? Donald Trump never gets that. It's never sticky for him. He can lose his whole cabinet and they'll be like, well, those guys were convinced by the liberal left to turn their backs on that. It's kind of like the old school, the devil made me do it. You can always blame something that you cannot argue against.
Listen,
It makes you more valid.
That's crazy.
No,
That's like, like you have like a kid who's just a perpetual liar. Like they just like nothing. You'll never get the truth. Every time something, well, like, a ghost came down and broke the bed. And I mean, it's like, stop it. Just tell the truth. But they're not in touch with reality. That's what I feel like some aspects of his world are, because there are a lot of people in there who are very grounded and know what's going on and they know why, they support him and to what ends they get by being in his camp. But he and the other people that kind of, I guess the people who kind of keep it afloat, they have to like live in that crazy world where nothing is ever as it seems. They never just like hunker down and say, well, the truth is. None of it. It just never stopped. Never. It's a witch hunt. I didn't do it. Whatever. There's always some response. There's never any accountability from anybody, and that's just a crazy world. That's a crazy world to me.
And I wonder, because we have video and everything is recorded, and you can catch so many of these people in lies, or at least retracting their own double down statements they've made. And not just politicians, from athletes, businessmen, scientists, professors, regular citizens. People record themselves doing everything. I wonder if that's just natural, that there's always going to be that level of lying amongst groups of people. And now we're just uncovering how much of this has been lies. Because if you think about it, this is my bullshit theory. I always bring this back. I don't know people who are out there studying mental health, but I personally think that this is smoking weed sometimes at night. I think of this. If you believe a lie, right? If you believe something that's not real, and that bases your whole reality and your behaviors and your values off of something that's not real, it doesn't mean that you don't experience reality consciously and unconsciously. And I've always asked myself, I wonder how much of the mental health in this country comes out of the upholding of all the lies in history that is used to uphold a perception versus what the reality is. America doesn't really call it like they see it unless they're taking something over. If it's an equal push, they have no incentive to call it like they see it or be real, because that means there's going to be a lot of change for people that may be in power or feel incentivized. I completely empathize with that to a certain degree. Well, I empathize with that to a certain degree, not completely, but I also wrestle with that. Could me living in the reality of it, could me living a lie, like, for example, I was reading stuff on, take it, for example, Jim Crow, right? Jim Crow is just a system that they make people live by, but the live by the system is not based in anything factual. So I'm operating off of a made up lie that incentivizes people to keep it one way, but I could be losing my mind because I have to live into a reality that's made up and a reality that I actually experience. And I, again, throwing that out there, smoking weed, not to get deep, but I really wrestle with that, man. I really do, because I'm like, can you imagine, can you imagine a mind fuck, right? Of people. I saw a post the other day that said Socrates was killed for educating the youth, and that statement kind of made me think about that again, going, okay, yeah, well, they killed him because if he's presenting a truth, it tears the reality down. That reality incentivizes people that have power. So I'm incentivized to kill you, and I can tell you, I can label you as the devil or the matrix or the person that's coming to disrupt the peace and security of my country and people. And people will foolishly accept that and to let me kill you, right? It's only like I could legally kill somebody if we call it the death penalty, So nonetheless, man, I think about those thoughts and I see this. I see our country, how we split politically. I listen to both sides, and there's pathology on both sides. Let's be real. people are drinking the Kool-Aid on both sides. And I wonder how long as a country, are we not going to collectively fall into this pathology where everybody is drinking a little bit of Kool-Aid and is a little crazy if we haven't already got there, right? No conspiracy, just calling it like I see it. You can't have a conversation about religion, politics, sexuality. What does that mean? It means we can't ever really have reconciliation, you know? And I personally think that's my opinion of one of the root causes that I personally feel as I watch these things play out when I have children and I go, how do I help cultivate their minds without building all around pieces of information that they should have access to. But I got to protect them, because if they start sipping the Kool-Aid young, it's hard to convert them, you know? So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay. And said out there.
Yeah, that's a decent amount to unpack. I'll be honest. I think I get it. We cut to a group of mall Santas. Hey guys, hey guys, I want to call this meeting because I don't know if you've been seeing on the internet the war on Santa going on with the kids. Less and less kids are believing in us.
No.
It's not great. Which is it's a threat to our jobs, right? We love what we do, going to the malls, talking to a bunch of kids, putting smiles on their faces. But if less and less kids are going to believe in Santa, that makes it harder for us. So I wanted to see if there's anything we can do. Maybe we can start at a local level to reintegrate Santa into the minds and hearts of children before it's stripped out by society.
Oh, well, I'll begin here. I have a suggestion.
Please.
What if we disrupted all of the Wi-Fi for all the kids in the town? That way they couldn't have access to Amazon Prime. They will need us to deliver their packages.
So we cut off the internet for the town, and then they'll come back to the malls, right? Because the internet's down. I like it.
Well, I like the idea about cutting out Amazon Prime, but my idea relies heavily upon the presence of the internet. I think we should really invest in maybe getting a YouTube channel or some sort of way to proliferate our image onto the internet, streaming, everything. There should be absolutely more Santa integration so children can see us on these devices, and we can control the narrative. We can still be powerful and important. Just an idea.
I like that one too. That actually lines up really well with my idea, where we just sort of pop up in town, but only for a second, only enough for a kid to notice us, and then we disappear. Then we jump into the bushes or into the shadows or something. We did it over and over. Kids are going to start thinking they see us all over the place. Maybe they try to take pictures of us.
Increase the mystery. I like that.
What if we, on our YouTube channel, we run a whole playlist bashing Amazon so we can get a lot of people fired up and go viral?
Perhaps storm those fulfillment centers. That'd be good. Violence in action.
We cut to a couple of Amazon workers on breaking the break room. Man, I only got about 25 seconds where I got to get. All of a sudden, the power goes out.
What the heck's going on?
Oh shit! What's going on?
I don't know, man, but
did anybody hear that?
I hear some jingle bells.
You hear the bells, right?
I hear the bells.
I hear the bells. I heard like a whole.
I think I heard a little like
maybe a robot was moving a box of bells.
No, maybe somebody's phone. Maybe it's.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go out on the floor and take a look and see what's happening here. I'll be right back.
See if we can find out what. I'm not getting anything on my phone right now. The internet is completely.
It doesn't matter. I still got 3 more minutes of my break. I'll sit here in the dark before I go back out there and work.
I can't blame you, man. I can't blame you. But I got to start moving boxes if I can't see anything. These robots, they don't need light. They're going to start outworking us.
Yep. Nope. Dang.
Where'd John
go? John go? He said he was just going to go out there and check. John?
John?
That sounds like.
That sound like. This might be weird. That sounded a bit like a mall Santa to me. Does it sound like a mall Santa to you?
I know that sound. Now hold on. Let me get my lunch kit. Listen, you can stay here if you want to. I know what happens when that sound happens. I'm out of here.
And scene.
I'm not getting killed at the job. Nope.
Not at Amazon. That's your last day on all that work you did holding your pee, and that's your last day.
And that's your last day. You get killed, and Amazon get paid too. They get paid if you die on the job. Don't matter how.
So many
can't do it.
I thought that was so unethical when I found out about companies taking out insurance policies on their employees. That's like a conflict of interest. You provide my health insurance and you have a insurance policy out on me? Are you serious?
Yeah, how did that work?
And it's it's reported on the finances too as like a profit.
Yeah, they take out I don't know all the names of companies that do, but
it's a lot
of large companies.
Most of them do. Most of them,
take out an insurance policy on their employees so that when you pass away, they collect on that policy.
What's the logic behind that, other than, of course, making money? But like, what's
it's called
what do they tell
dead peasant insurance.
That's what it's called, John. Dead peasant.
Yeah. It's in most contracts you probably read. If you work at a job and they are either, especially if they're a public traded company or any stock traded company, private or public, chances are it has a that in it. And what it is it's capitalism. It's like if I'm investing in an employee and his compensation to hedge my investment, if that person dies, their work and all of this assets connected to them also get slowed down. I have to take a hit. How do I cover my risk? Well, I get insurance. So if I'm paying you $100,000, I got $1 million policy, and guess what? The family doesn't get any. It's just what I get to record on my balance sheet. And it legitimately, companies can bank and actually predict we're going to have 2% of our population die every year. We can look for X amount of money to come back to our balance sheet. It sounds crazy, but it's really just accounting. It's just
it's crazy accounting.
It's just accounting. And I mean, if you think about it, right, it'd be like if you have child insurance on your child, right? Like if something happens, you have the child can no longer live, but you still have this whole of things you have to take care of. People take life insurance out on their children.
For funeral pop,
right? For funerals, for whatever, right? But companies get rights like humans. And because they have those rights, they can do dead peasants insurance, which is actually considered an income.
But it's also for me, it's unethical because they set my work time, they set my work schedule, they set the work that I do. Very often they provide health insurance, so they get to choose which type, and maybe they choose it based on how efficient they are in keeping me out of the hospital and keeping me from getting certain life-saving procedures. That's completely unethical to me, for them to be able to do the same. But I hear your financial speech.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying.
I think it's unethical because they don't give the family any money. I think it's risk hedging from a business perspective, and a lot of business things you do to hedge your risk, increase profits, are not moral decisions. But I think the moral thing they can do is pay the family out of the death of the, like, if I'm going to make $1 million off as a death benefit to my employee, then their family should get at least half of that, at least half of it, right? Because they don't have their family member while they are working on your property at your time. So I think that to me is the bigger underlying greedy moral issue that's there. If they were like, yeah, we're taking this out and it's to cover you guys and us, which I think some companies do offer life insurance the person can take out. But they take one out on you regardless whether you take one out or not.
You take one out or not. Michael Moore had, I learned about it because Michael Moore had a show back in the 90s called TV Nation. And like all of these things that you did, like that was the first time I'd heard about people who were diagnosed with HIV, which would rapidly progress to AIDS at the time before we had heart medications to slow the virus. And so if people had a life insurance policy and they were diagnosed, there were brokers, there were people who would offer to buy your insurance policy for, of course, less than the stated amount. So you get some cash to live on and they keep your policy. So let's say it was a $500,000 policy. They paid you $300,000. You took that, lived on it. And then once you died, they get the $500,000. And I almost cried when I heard. I was just in the room. I remember being in the room watching the show and I was like, are you serious? This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And that became like a screening question I would use if I met a guy. I was like, hey, listen, like if you had an option to make money by buying a policy of a person who's gonna die, like would you do it? And I remember this guy was like, yeah. I was like, I'm never talking to him again. This is the last conversation we're having right now.
No, hold on though.
Wait, I was gonna say that's.
Well, hold on though.
Do what you believe, how you believe, feel how you feel. I'm talking 20 something year old Tandaway. That was a thing for me. That, I mean, like ethically, where do you stand in that game? Yeah.
Now what's unethical about it?
For me, it's not unethical. I don't think that's unethical. It's just heartbreaking to me that somebody who needs money now, I feel like they shouldn't need money now, right? I feel like their needs should be met. If they have this problem, they should be able to get the medication they need. They should be able to have the hospital visits. That's how I feel. So the fact that, something that you could potentially pass on to your family, your loved ones, whomever, once you leave, you can't, because you have to use all of that now because those things aren't taken care of. And I just thought it was horrible. And I thought, what a sick way to make money. That's what I thought. And I still think that way. I was like, what a sick way to make money, to kind of like gamble on somebody's death. Isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you keep saying 20, Sandy? Like you don't still think that way.
I still think that way because that is still me. But I mean, at the time, like, I don't know. Right now, it wouldn't bring me to tears like it did at that moment that person was facing that kind of decision. But yeah, still ethically, I still fall in line with that thinking, no matter how many bills I have now. Because then I didn't have no bills. So you could be real idealistic when you don't have anything. You know what I mean? You can do that. Sure. Then once you have kids.
You can be very moral too when you're not suffering. When you're suffering, you don't care about morals. You care about relieving the pain. So yeah, that makes sense. Again, I go back to my point about the whole, if I can create a world where people buy into this reality that's not the reality everyone experiences, but I can control it, I can set the rules, and I can make other people experience that. And what you're feeling is the reality of something that is not moral, that someone else has created and imposed on you. And
I think we're gonna lose you time and time again, John, on this reality thing. You're like, if I can control the rules of reality,
I think it's pretty simple.
You
You experience reality, right? What is reality? Reality is the way in which you behave, right? How do you interact with the world and how you behave?
Yeah.
If you tell your son, hey, the reality is boys are not supposed to interact with girls, and he grows up with that reality that you condition him to believe, he would live in a direct conflict with the reality he's experiencing that other people are living. Do we agree there? Is that simple? That is all I'm saying. If I control Tony and Tony grows up and experiences a different reality, it can create a conflict that can be called a mental health. Very simple and clear. Very simple. It may sound like wishy-washy, but it's a reality.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is you can't keep bringing up the reality control.
So my point to Tandy, my point about Tandy,
if I'm talking about a sandwich, you can't be like, well, if you control reality on the sandwich, it's not really a sandwich. It can
here's my point with Tandy. To drill in my original point, right? She's as a 20-year-old, she was crying because she found out that in this reality, people make money off of other people's deaths. She was operating in the ignorance that was a reality. So now that she found that reality that she's experienced is different, when you go into an institution and you don't make that laws, it caused a conflict in her that those two things have to exist in my world. The fact that I can see things that are morally unjust and I can't do anything about it, but be fearful or sad or not complicit. And the fact that people willingly do it because that is the law and the truth they live. We call it double consciousness, right? Like if you've heard of that in context. And so I'm saying is like millions of people feel that about a lot of things in the world, right? This is a thing people do that is morally unjust, but a lot of people do it. A lot of companies we work for do it. A lot of these companies have raised our families for years, right? And some people are so loyal to these companies, they'll fight you over that law to protect the company that holds that, right? They're protecting the people that hold that reality. That's all I was saying. That's all I was saying.
We cut to a prison cafeteria line. Man, I don't care what you call it. There's a piece of chicken on there and some beans. Keep on moving through the line. You keep talking to me about
this ain't no chicken, man. This some yard bird. This some yard burn and pokies, man. This is what we call it where I'm from. Yard bird and pokies.
Look at the sign. I don't want to have to jump over. Listen,
I don't know how to read no sign, man. I don't know how to read. You might as well just be pointing at the wall or pointing at this brother right next to me, because I don't know nothing about that. All I know is I'm looking at a yard bird and some pokies, and I don't eat yard bird and pokies. I eat chicken.
That's what. Listen, that's what I said. This is chicken, okay?
But it ain't chicken. It's yard bird. I know what yard bird look like when I see it.
Man, I don't think that's yard bird or chicken, man. Where I'm from, we always call that bok bok. Bok bok and beans.
Y'all are holding up the line, man.
I've heard of bok bok before, by the way.
You've heard about exactly. That's what it is. It's bok bok for sure.
But this right here is actually yard bird.
See, I don't think we can move on until we figure out what we're looking at right now. Because either I'm eating it if it's bok bok, or I'm not eating it if it's yard bird. You know, how am I supposed to make a decision until we get to the bottom?
I don't care what you think. Listen, this is prison. This is a whole new world. Wherever you came from, that's over. You are being socialized in a whole new environment here. We don't have no yard bird, and we don't have no bok bok. We got chicken and beans. That's it. You eat it or you don't. Get with the program. This is the reality now.
All I'm saying is, where is the chicken and the beans? I don't see it, because this is yard bird.
Mm-hmm. And what we got here, you call it rice?
Yes, that's rice.
That is sand food.
Okay,
that's where I'm from. We call that sand food.
We're not.
It looked like sand, don't it? But you can eat it. We can agree on that, right?
Can we all agree that we are in prison? Is that a base reality we can all accept and start at that point?
Where I'm from, they say that prison is a state of mind. And so you're only in prison if you mentally allow yourself to be in prison. You know, I call this place Barbados.
Yeah, that's that. I like this guy right here, man. He's speaking some truth. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been to prison. Never been to prison. I ain't going to prison.
Never going to go to prison.
Tony Joe, you've been here for 25 years, man. Hey, young blood, you've been here for 3, but this is prison. You don't get a chance to go outside in your Barbados whenever you want to. You don't get a chance to leave and go see your family anytime you want to, Tony Joe. This is prison. This is the reality.
Well, that may be the reality to you, but I be seeing my family in my head movies.
And seeing
head movies.
You mean memories?
You mean dreams? My head movies?
Head movies. Speaking of head movies, John, you had some videos to share, right?
Hold on, let me pull
up. Still have them? Do 2 days in prison. The day you get in and the day you get out.
I hate that saying. I hate that saying because I'm like, I don't ever want to go to prison to even prove that. But I know that can't be true. That I don't have to go to prison. No, that ain't what I feel right now. Hold on. I got something. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of the, let's say, the absurdities come out of our politics, and one of those people consistently is the Senator Marjorie Taylor. What's her name?
Isn't it Marjorie? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's not reality.
That's not my reality.
Maydream. I like that.
Maydream. We're gonna call her Maydream.
Maydream.
Maydream Taylor. In my reality, folks. Yeah. You can choose it. I chose this one.
Tangerine Grayler Mean.
And she's just saying a whole bunch of crazy stuff that you would think that a politician wouldn't say. What does that mean? You don't see politicians talking about conspiracies. You usually don't hear politicians openly criticizing the other party for being completely full of criminals, specifically pedophiles. But either Maydream is spilling the beans, she's speaking at Bach, or she's full of Yardbird, if you know what I'm saying. So this clip here, we'll get into some of the things that she's been saying. And I just want to hear CTUN's comments on how do you feel about the political landscape as these are our leaders. These are the people, these are their comments. They're the ones that are directing the reality of America. Which I've so eloquently clarified. Let's see. Got this video shared. Boom. Boom.
All did with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think we have a clip. Let's play it for people who didn't see the whole thing.
Are you saying that you don't stand by what's on your social media?
Well, of course I stand for what's on my social media, but at times you're not always in control. We have all kinds of people that work on our social media.
Did you apologize for your position on Parkland, Florida?
What was my position on Parkland, Florida?
That it was a false flag?
I don't know if you actually have my position. No, I never said Parkland was a false flag. No, I've never said that.
We fact-checked before I got to this interview.
Have you fact-checked all my statements from kindergarten through 12th grade and in college?
The Democrats are a party of pedophiles.
I would definitely say so. They support grooming children.
They are not pedophiles. Why would you say that?
Democrats Democrats support, even Joe Biden, the president himself, supports children being sexualized and having transgender surgeries. Sexualizing children is what pedophiles do to children.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a case of two people living in two different realities.
I wish there was just a segment for politicians that would just be like, why would you say that?
They don't even, I mean, there used to be some level of embarrassment, and you would, at least suffer some public humiliation. Now, like John said, we just entered the era of don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you say. As long as somebody goes, give them hell, May Dream. You're like, yes, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. Yeah. Somebody agrees with me. Yeah, terrible, terrible times.
Why would you say that?
She went to New York. She went to New York for Trump's arraignment or whatever it was, and the people ran her out like they drowned her out with whistles. They just blew whistles, but somebody took the feed or the video of her, being ushered or trying to get out, escaping the crowd, and Michael Rappaport took it and did like voiceover, like Tony Baker does Pets. Michael, he didn't do actual voices, but he just like, I sent it to the CTUN group, to the thing. See if you see it there, and play that, because I rolled. I thought it was real at first, and then found out that Michael Rappaport took the video and did a voiceover to make it more authentically New York.
You got it, Antoine, you're gonna be short.
I'm working on it, but if you got it already, let's see. All right, I think I got it. Let me share. Get audio.
Go back to the farm, you animal! They're looking for you at the sanctuary! You filthy animal! You QAnon lunatic! Hit her with the space lasers! Blast her with the fucking space lasers! Get the fuck out of New York, you racist, sick, filthy, infected animal! Get the
Hit him with the space lasers.
Hit him with the space lasers! You QAnon lunatic!
Man,
I thought it was real.
Voices.
Yeah. I thought it was real. I was like, how did they isolate that voice so clearly? And be picked up by all of that noise.
That's another thing that I may want to see more of from our politicians, just like straight up name calling and clowning. What I see from the Conservative Party is just not inspired. Call them pedophiles. You can do better than that. You can do better than that.
Yeah, they don't have any. They need to hire some comedians to write roasts for them, like McDonald's, or was it Burger King that got Pusha T to write a rhyme or something. If I was a Republican, like over the campaigning for Republicans, I would be going after all of the pissed off comedians that are good, that don't get respect from the Hollywood, and have them just load up hella jokes and use them to fire back, because they're just stale. Like you remember when you were kids and you were joking on there's somebody that never could really joke, or it was usually because everybody liked them, so they never really had to. But when they had to joke, they always said something stupid, and people were just kind of like, oh, okay, let's stop. We don't want to hurt their feelings. Well, the Republicans, they are that guy, except for it's past we pissed that person off. So now they're gunning for us. They're pulling out all their worst jokes that they've ever been told to them. They're using them like stuff back to us. But before we jump off, man, I want to show this video because Michael Rappaport, this is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen him do. It is about, it basically, I think it's a voiceover that Michael Rappaport did about this guy in the subway who was wrestling with a homeless man. So yeah, please watch.
What's this guy doing? What you doing? Hey, shit in the bucket. He's shitting in your bucket, man. Ma, call the police. Call the cops. Hey, break it up, asshole. Shit.
And he goes
Don't do
back.
it again. Ma,
Oh, God.
he's shitting in the bucket, Ma. Call the fucking cops. He's shitting in the man's bucket, Ma. This guy's doing bad.
Wow. Wow. That's gonna go in my. I have a thing about quote unquote bad days at work. Like, was your day really that bad? That's gonna go into the
Was
catalog.
it a homeless man shitting on your desk bed? Yeah. When I saw that, like, I love his voice is hilarious. But when I watched that, I was like, oh my goodness, what do you do? He's taking the shit. He's willing to fight you mid shit.
That's his bucket now.
That's
his bucket, bro.
I don't work there.
It's his bucket. At that point, I would be thinking he could liably beat me up and then take a shit on me. So you gotta let that dude walk away with the bucket, man.
Step away.
Yeah, you gotta take the L on that. he took his mop and threw it on the floor and then went right back.
He's ready.
Pulled his pants up, no wipe, grabbed him, manhandled him through the mop, talk shit, and then sat right back down, continue to blow up the bucket.
I wonder what the appeal was to pee or poo. I assume poo is a man in a bucket of water. I mean, you could do it so easily into not, just straight ground.
That's what we all do, isn't it?
Okay.
In a reality,
usually followed by a flush. Usually followed by a flush, not just for water for water's sake.
Water for water.
Now, well, somebody's gonna clean it up. I mean, yeah. It was a great opportunity for the homeless man. I don't see the problem in his world. He probably couldn't make it to the bathroom. There's probably going to be hella people in the New York subway bathroom or shit everywhere. And he wanted a clean space. So he found the bucket, pooped in the bucket. He knew someone else was going to clean it up,
All right, I think the lesson there is if you see your opportunity, take it. And on that note, we'll get on out of here. So
be willing to fight for that opportunity.
Be willing to fight for the opportunity.
He's shitting in the bucket, man.